The views represented today in this conversation with Dr. Demy are solely his own views and do not represent the views of the U.S. Naval War College, the United States Navy, or any other governmental department or agency.
Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties, education, and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Barber, Director of Cultural Affairs for Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Marching to Zion, Historical and Theological Foundations of American Evangelical Support for Israel. I'm Matt Barber, Vice President of Liberty Counsel Action, and joining us today is a very special guest, Dr. Timothy J. Demy, a professor of military ethics with the U.S. Naval War College. And Dr. Demy, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be with you today.
Thank you for joining us today. Now, you have been here at Liberty University. We've been running you ragged. You've been giving talks to the Helms School, other schools here at Liberty University on a couple different topics. Today, we're going to talk about one of the talks you gave, Marching to Zion. You get into the establishment of the state of Israel as a national homeland for the Jewish people, and something that is of a particular interest to me, to Liberty Counsel. You talk about the relationship between the strong history of Christian support, evangelical support for the state of Israel. Share with us some of what you've been sharing with the students.
Sure, gladly. Well, we think sometimes that American evangelical support for Israel is something new, that it arose post-1948 or post-Six-Day War in 1967 or out of the 1970s and 80s or even more recent events. And that's not true. Christian support for Israel or for the idea that there should be an Israel goes far back into American history, as far back as the American colonies, and then even further back into English Puritanism and English history. It's an idea that grew up in the context of religion, politics, arts, culture, social events, historical events, especially in the 19th century. It didn't just emerge out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. It didn't arise out of a vacuum. It has a genealogy or a lineage. And in the 19th century, it was called Jewish Restorationism, as the term Zionism was not yet coined. So, Jewish restoration, it's a long-standing concept, a long-standing idea. I like to say that ideas are like people and cheese. It takes a long time for them to mature. And so this idea grew over the decades, over the centuries. Now,
is it strictly the for lack of a better word, the genesis of this relationship and this this Christian support for the state of Israel? Is it strictly a theological analysis, or is there more to it than that?
It's both political and theological.
Parse the two.
Okay, in American, and what you have in the 19th and 20th century, especially in the 20th century, is the merging of the politics and the theology together. But what you have politically coming out of the American experience, the American colonial experience, was out of independence and the idea that all of a sudden we had this new American nation, and the Puritans in America identified very strongly with the Israelites of the Old Testament. They talked about their errand into the wilderness, drawing upon the parallel. And so as Americans gained their independence, coming out of a strong religious heritage, it wasn't much of a leap for them to think, well, if we can have ours, why can't others have theirs? Mm-hmm. And so the American Revolution really spawns a 40-year period of movements and revolutions and political readjustments around the world. And part of that, both the American Revolution and later the French Revolution, was the idea that if we can have freedom, then others too should have it, and they begin to look at various groups, of which the Jews were a very prominent group in that.
Now, does this go all the way back to, and before and certainly during the Six-Day War and when Israel became a state again after so many centuries, right. 1948, was there a strong Christian influence and undergirding? Was there support even at that time?
Yes, the Christian support has been present throughout America's history. What happens in the late 19th century and early 20th century is that Christian support merges with political support for the idea of a Jewish nation. And then especially in the 1920s and 30s, evangelicals, fundamentalists were pushed to the fringes of society or moved to the fringes of society. And they kept the theological idea, but it's then with the establishment of the State of Israel, the political idea reemerges, and evangelicals begin to see that the political idea and the theological idea have come together, and that's when you really get the mushrooming of evangelical support that we see today.
Fascinating. It's neat to get some context around this. I mean, I've always known inherently in studying, that there is Christian support, and obviously from a biblical nature, Christianity stems from the Jewish faith. Obviously, right. Christ was himself Jewish. What does, in this day and age, what does evangelical support generally look like for Christians? What do Christians do? What does the church do? What do church leaders do effectively to support?
It takes various forms. I mean, certainly there is support for the State of Israel, and sometimes that is critical support. Sometimes it's uncritical support. But so you find support for the state. You find support for social programs, immigration of Jewish people. So you find support on an individual level, on an institutional level, and on a national level, and that's regardless of administrations. And U.S. national support, it's separate from that. It's the American Christian support for the State of Israel is a strong religious voice that's part of that. The broader package.
Sure. And the evangelical support is separate from, but really runs parallel to, from a political standpoint, right. the history, the U.S. government's history.
Right.
What is the U.S. support of the state of Israel? Is that just willy-nilly, or is there some reasoning behind that? Why are they one of our strongest allies historically?
U.S. support of Israel has been strong since the founding of the nation. It continues to be such. No, but evangelical support is part of that. It's both part of it and it's separate from it. A Christian, regardless of where they live, always has to balance two responsibilities. On the one hand, they must balance their responsibility to the state, citizenship, and on the other hand, they must balance their discipleship to Jesus Christ. So there's discipleship and citizenship are two things that are always held in tension, and part of that for American evangelicals entails support for Israel and for the Jewish people, and that it's on both hands. It is a citizenship issue, and it's also a discipleship issue, and those come together to create a unique sentiment.
When I think of the U.S. government's longstanding political support for the State of Israel, one word comes to mind, and correct me if I'm wrong. Is it democracy?
Yes.
Is that the tie that binds?
I would say it was democracy.
Uh-huh.
It is the idea of the unique responsibility, availability that people have under a democracy.
And we've only got about just a little bit of time left here quickly, but what challenges does Israel face here on the horizon? I know you can't possibly sum that up in a minute, but what is the one premier challenge that you think that they face?
Well, as has been said many times, they are a democracy in the Middle East, and I think they must continue to be that beacon and to hold the values that we hold in a democratic society as well. Certainly, they have internal and external security considerations, but those are going to continue and wax and wane based upon headlines or current events.
Sure.
But to maintain a strong democratic state is certainly their goal, and that's certainly a goal of the U.S. as well.
Sure, and they do certainly face a number of challenges. The conflict, the inherent conflict and tension in the Middle East, as Scripture says, there's nothing new under the sun, and certainly that conflict goes back thousands of years, and unfortunately shows no signs of waning anytime in the near future. But, well, thank you so very much for coming in and sharing your thoughts with us, and for sharing your insights and your background and your knowledge with our students here at Liberty University.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be with you.
Well, folks, Liberty Counsel, we have made a conscious decision to stand with Israel. And if you go to our website, lc.org, or give us a call at 1-800-671-1776, we have a bumper sticker we can send off to you, the Stand with Israel bumper sticker for your car. Again, go to lc.org or give us a call, 1-800-671-1776. Stand with Liberty Counsel as we stand with the state of Israel.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.